Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Wednesday. So we're middle of the week. We got tomorrow to go through, and Friday we'll see what Bitcoin does. But Bitcoin right now is not cooperating with us for whatever reason. It's just not. So the miners were down today. We'll take a look at what's going on there with Bitcoin miners. We'll also take a look at which two miners were actually improving in their revenues. So did they increase the revenues from Q2 to Q3? There's only two of them. We'll go through the list. I did a poll on Twitter. We'll take a look at the results of that, what you guys thought there. We'll get into each company. We'll look through those really quick, and then we'll get into the miners to see if they improved their hash rate over last month. So September over August, basically. Did they improve their market share of the network hash rate and all that stuff? Okay, but you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure down below that. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's get into Bitcoin, see what Bitcoin did today, along with the miners. So Bitcoin was down today. It was down quite a bit, actually. It fell through our support at 61,000, and it was down 2.49% on the day, closed at 60,578. We can see that now. It's still battling with the 50-day simple moving average right now. It went below it a little bit and closed below it. But on the new day, we are close to that 50-day simple moving average. If I zoom in, you can see we're right at the top of that. So if this does not hold, we may be coming down to 57,000, kind of like the last leg before we go up, maybe. Kind of, get rid of all the longs that are in there and, some of the weak hands, and we can possibly move forward from there. We'll see. Last year, it wasn't until we were moving in Bitcoin until October 16th. So we're still a few days away from that, which would be sometime in the next week if that does happen. So we'll keep an eye on it, see how it does going forward. But I still believe October is going to be a really good month for us. Historically, it has been. And it seems like we're following the same trend that we were back in 2015 and 2016 when it comes to the Bitcoin cycle. But we'll see. All right, the miners, for the most part, were down here. Annie was just the only one up along with DMG, just slightly. Everybody else was down 1, 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, 1%. 3. I mean, the biggest one that was down here was Mawson. Dawson was down 7.8, along with IREN. IREN was down quite a bit here, 6.71%. And let's see here. Where's IREN right now on the scale here? So that one is bouncing off of the simple 200-day moving average right now. That's kind of where it halted here a little bit. It came here, when was this, on Thursday of last week as well. Bounced off of that, and we've come back down to that mark. On IREN, Wolf was also down a little bit. Wolf has continued its downtrend here. It is now getting close to its Fibonacci retracement level of 0.382 here. It's not too far away from that, and it's just coming down. And the reason I think it's coming down is because we just don't have any news on any HPC deals, customers, or anything like that. That was what the hype that drove it all the way up here. So we'll see if we get anything like that. But if we don't, I'm thinking this one may continue to go down in price. Well, as long as Bitcoin goes down, the other miners are going to follow anyway. So not much difference there from everybody else here. Bitcoin going down, everything else is going down. But yeah, that is it on those two things that I'm going to talk about there. Let's get into the two miners that actually made more revenue in Q3 than in Q2. And I did a poll on that. Here's a poll. So I asked the question, which two Bitcoin miners generated more revenue from self-mining in Q3 than in Q2? The results are as follows. So Cleanspark IREN right now with 2,670 votes. 64% thought that was the case. Next highest was IREN and Bitfarms, 18%, followed by Marathon and Riot at 13.8%. And then last one was actually Bitfarms and Riot. I know the results of it. I know what the answer is. I'm going to tell you guys. We'll go through each miner here just to kind of show you where everybody is at based on my estimates, my calculations, and things like that, which are always pretty close. And then we'll actually get to the ones that did actually beat Q2 revenues for self-mining. Okay, so let's get into that right now. We'll go through each company individually, and it should be pretty short and sweet here. So for BitDeer, I have them at, right now for, where is it? I'm at 28 for self-mining, estimated here 28. The actual last quarter was 41.6 million. I was off by 5% on that one, a little higher than normal on some of the other ones. So BitDeer did not beat it. BitDigital, if we look at BitDigital also, BitDigital in Q2 had 16 million in revenue. This quarter looks like they're going to be about 10 million roughly, give or take a little bit. Bitfarms here was 41.5 million in Q2. They're going to be around 42, 43 million here in Q3. So they're one of the ones that actually beat Q2 results compared to Q3 results, right? They improved. So that was a good sign there. They didn't sell quite a bit of hash rate here into after the halving event, which helped them out there. Okay. Next is going to be Cypher here. So Cypher had 36 million in Q2. This quarter looks like they're going to be about 25.8 million. So they didn't beat it. Cleanspark next, 104 million here. Then Q2, 89 million for this current quarter. They're down approximately, 15 million or so from where they were, but they've been also installing quite a bit. So I would expect them to possibly beat this number here in Q4, basically. And a lot of these guys might actually do that. CORZ Scientific, down quite a bit here. In Q2, they were at 110 million for revenue. This current quarter looks like they're going to be about 68 million for self-mining. So they're down roughly, 42 million or something like that, down in revenue, quarter over quarter. Hive was at 29 million in Q2. Q3 looks like they're going to be about 20.7 million roughly. So they didn't make it either. Hut 8 was at 22.8. They're now at 15.5 roughly. They didn't make it either. IREN here was at 53.3 million. They're not too far away. They're at 49. But they didn't make it either to the list of being one of the two. Marathon here. Marathon was 123 million. They're going to be possibly around 118 right now. So they're not the ones that beat it also, but they're pretty close. Riot had 55.7 million. This current quarter, they're going to be at 67. So they beat it by about 12 million here. And that was a surprise to me. Excuse me. Right, Riot and Bitfarms were both a surprise to me when I looked at the results here on it. And then finally, TeraWolf on this one. We can see that TeraWolf was 35 million in Q2, 27 million here now in Q3. So the only ones that did beat it were actually the ones that got the lowest score here, or the lowest votes. Bitfarms and Riot. Those two beat out everybody else for generating more revenue in Q3 than they did in Q2. So congrats to Bitfarms and Riot for being able to do that. None of the other companies were able to do that. So that's just, I believe, just a huge increase in, not shares, but the huge increase in hash rate that they've seen here recently, both for Bitfarms and Riot, and where they were prior to the huge increase. So that benefited them tremendously here. Okay, so that's it on that one. And then next one here we're going to take a look at really quick is also just the BTC hash rate comparison for the miners and the network, see where the miners are right now. And on this one, we look at the last 2 years, basically, of network hash rate growth, which we've seen tremendous growth in network hash rate. And then we've also seen quite a bit of good growth in the miners themselves. So for the end of September, I had the network hash rate at 643 exahash for the 30-day average, roughly. At that point, the miners came in at 185 exahash installed, right? That doesn't mean that it was operating, but it's installed. But majority of the miners that I do track, they're mostly on average 90% plus operational uptime on average for all these guys. So that's pretty close to that. On that one, okay, so that was good there. If we look at the month-over-month miners exahash growth, we can see here that in September, the miners grew 18 exahash, while the network hash rate only grew increased by 12 exahash overall. So the miners did improve more than network hash rate overall. So there were some miners that were non-public that have gone offline, it looks like to me, based on this data here. We saw that also happen here in May and June. After the halving event, we saw the network hash rate decrease while the miners were increasing their total hash rate. This is month-over-month difference, right? So we saw non-public miners, possibly some public miners as well, decreasing their hash rate while these guys were actually increasing. As a result of that, over the last couple of months, we've been seeing that the network hash rate, public miners' percentage of the Bitcoin network hash rate has been increasing. So their market share, I guess you could say, has been increasing here. It's at the highest level I've seen here in the last 2 years. It's at 28.9, almost 29%. We've seen a huge growth here in the last month alone. So like I said, I believe that's the case with non-public miners unplugging some of the older generation machines, and the public miners are installing the newer generation miners and growing their hash rate tremendously here. So that's good to see as well. We did, let me see, in March, before the halving event, it looks like the miners were actually down to 20%, 20.4, which was not the lowest they've been here. The lowest was actually 2 years ago in October of 2022 then, at 19% market share at that point. But it's been a roller coaster ride throughout the times, but it is improving tremendously here recently here on it. Okay, and then the miners here increased their numbers by 10% in hash rate growth from the prior month as well. So that's good. You can see their growth month over month, basically. They've been improving. The only down month that they had here was back in March for some reason. Not a lot of things were getting installed, and some miners actually uninstalled some things. But everything else, it's always been a positive increase month over month for the miners as well. Now going down here, we're going to take a look at the individual miners to compare them against their prior month. So we're looking back into August, and did they improve their market share at that point in the Bitcoin network? And the way we do that is we can see here the Bitcoin miners percentage of Bitcoin network hash rate. Yellow equals current month, teal equals previous month, right? So where were they the month before, and where are they now? So like BitDigital right now, we can see that they actually decreased their market cap or market share of the network. They're at 0.37 now. BitDeer actually improved theirs. They're at 1.33 compared to the 1.2 that they were the month prior. Bitfarms actually decreased a little bit here, 1.7 from 1.8. As a result of them not installing anything in the month of September, really. They're kind of flat, more or less. Cypher was also down to 1.2 from the prior month, from 1.22. Cleanspark had a nice increase here. They increased to 4.29, almost 4.3 from 3.6. So they installed a lot of machines there that improved their market cap on the network hash rate or market share. Core was down to 3.1 from 3.3. Hive was up just a little bit here to 0.87 from 8.6, right? They're always trying to maintain at least 1% of the network hash rate. They're actually down below that right now a little bit. And then Hut8 is down also to 0.88 from 0.92. So that was a decrease for them market share. And then Iris Energy increased nicely here as well, 3.26% of the market share of the network hash rate compared to the prior month of 2.6. So that was good. And then Marathon here looks like increased a little bit, 5.74% instead of the 5.72% that they had here. So they did increase a little bit on that side, and they still have the most market share of the Bitcoin network for all the miners here. Then you got Riot here, increased to 4.38. They were at 3.8, so a 1% increase. That's a really good increase for them. And they're the second ones that have the most market share, possibly if they ran closer to 100% uptime. But we know that's not the case, so they're like down here someplace actually. TeraWolf, 1.5% decreased from where it was the prior month of 1.6%. So you can see the miners that did improve are Riot, Iris, Marathon, Cleanspark, and BitDeer, along with Hive a little bit here. So those were the, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 miners that improved month over month. So yeah, it's always good to take a look at this type of metrics as well, just to see where the miners are stacking up on all this stuff. But yeah, that is it. We'll get into you guys' Q&A side of things here right now. We'll call it a day. It should be pretty easy. What do I want to say here? Patreon members, thank you to everyone there, along with the YouTube members for the continued support. If you want to have access to all the spreadsheets, you guys know the drill. Link is down in the description. $8 a month. You might be able to find a couple spots for $5. Access is all the same to everything. Okay, that is it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here, see what you guys have any thoughts on. If you guys are panicking yet with Bitcoin or not. But let's get into it here. Okay, let me go up top here. Okay. Mark's smash the like button, support the sub. I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you. Let's see. Do you think that pullback is over, and will we go up from here? I'm thinking we're close. We got to be close. Like I said, I think we might get a wick down to 57 before we go back up. But that's if we don't hold the 61,000 mark right now. Is MicroStrategy better than the miners? In certain periods and times, yes. When we're in this kind of volatile place with the miners and Bitcoin in general, at that time, MicroStrategy does seem to do better. But once Bitcoin really starts going up into a parabolic rise, like we've seen in the past, that is when the miners actually outshine MicroStrategy. And I'm expecting the same thing to happen here. Mark says, haha, all the Cleanspark votes. Yeah, it was, well, Cleanspark and IREN at that point. Yeah, that's kind of what I would have thought also if I didn't have all the data. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Wolf was ridiculously overvalued and still is. Yes, it was overvalued because of the HPC hype there. And the two investors that got into it that were well known and well regarded in the investing industry. So that's what really pumped the stock up. Okay. Good evening, Seb. Is Cleanspark in possession of enough miners to get them to 50 plus exahash, or are they still getting them delivered? If they do have them all, do they have enough infrastructure bought? they have enough infrastructure that I know of to get to 37, close to maybe 40 exahash. And they're building it out still. So I think they're close. I'm not sure. I know that the rest of the miners are being delivered here in this current quarter, but I don't think they're all delivered yet. If we look at the delivery schedule for the miners here on it, let's see, here's what I have for it. Where are we at here? So we had May, June, then we had the release, news release on April 1st that they bought some more of the S21s, right? Those were supposed to be delivered June through December. So those should be still being delivered. And August 8th, they announced some more purchases of the S21 Pro HP Hydros. Those are supposed to be coming in October, November timeframe. So they're still supposed to be delivered here, if they haven't been already delivered. So October, November, I'm guessing maybe into December even at that point. Okay. Okay, what else we got here? So which two miners did better in Q3 and Q2? I missed the beginning. It was actually Bitfarms and Riot that did better in Q2 than Q3 than Q2. Let's see. LTD Lawn Services says, added to Bitfarms, I don't give up easy. However, last in, first out is going to have Uncle Sam hand out. Yeah. Yep. I've been buying too. I told you guys, bought Monday and Tuesday yesterday as well. I was looking to maybe buy a little bit more today. I'll see where things go tomorrow. I may buy some more. Okay. Question. Hello, Seb. In general, are big institutions still buying miners? We're going to look at that tomorrow. I have that planned already and it's ready. So if you're a Patreon member, you'll probably get that information tonight because I've updated that sheet for it tonight. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Best three miners to buy right now, you think? I still think, this is my personal preference based on the data that I'm seeing. I still think Cleanspark, IREN, and Bitfarms. You could also go with CORZ in there. Who else would I possibly add into that mix? Then I would add maybe Marathon, Riot, especially if Riot can fix their operational uptime. Seb, do you ever get a response from RR reps? They have been mining 3 blocks a day for about 3 days now. Pretty disappointing. I did not reach out to any of them. And if I do reach out to like any of these miners, they typically do respond back. I did reach out to IREN today. Remember I talked about IREN's joules per terahash. That's 16, and I have them a little bit higher than that. I sent them all the data that I have on it just to see if I'm off on something. And I think I am off on a couple of things. I think they increased, not increased, but they got the better miners for some of their orders, I think. And that's why they might be able to get to 16 without large, not large, I wouldn't say large, but without underclocking the machines, going to power settings mode. So I'll see if I get a result from reply from them. I'm hoping that I will, but I think I figured out why I'm off. Okay. As far as Mara being down, yeah, I saw somebody else tweeted today where they actually showed that Cleanspark is out mining or getting more BTC than Mara is right now. So I'm not sure what's going on with Mara and why they're only mining like 3 blocks or something like that a day. That does seem to be pretty bad. Not sure why that is. Let's see here. I'm not going to be able to pronounce your name. Shivanish. Thanks for replying to me. You're an amazing person. Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, I'll always try to respond if I see. Well, I'll get to the questions and comments eventually through YouTube or wherever it is. Sometimes it might take me a day or two, but I will get back to you guys on all that stuff. Okay. More Tim 27 says, theories I'm hearing: 1, BTC goes up in mid to late October because of seasonality. 2, BTC pauses till the election. 374 was the top. Okay, the first 2 I could see that being the case. Third one, not so much. I don't think 74 was the top. If it was the top, then this is a completely different cycle. And we'll know that by the end of the year. If we don't get past 74 by the end of the year, that might be the case. Okay. Has Core progressed on its AI deal? Yes, they put out some information today or yesterday, I can't remember, about the sites where they had the AC miners. Those are out of those sites where they're going to be basically renovating for HPC AI. And the next step is for them to do that. So they are on track to possibly do that sometime in first half of the year. We just don't know exactly when. Let's see. Hank says, bought more IREN today. Very nice. I bought yesterday and Monday. I may buy more tomorrow. Okay, Mark's opinion here. Opinion BTC, I think we bounced from 60K level here for short term, double bottom, and we shoot for 66 and then next leg higher. Okay, might be. Let's see, I missed 2 miners and heard Cleanspark beat, and which other one? It wasn't Cleanspark that beat. It was Bitfarms and Riot that beat their Q2 revenue numbers for self-mining. Sean asks, hey Seb, we still bullish? Yes, I'm still bullish. How do you factor the bullish price predictions with all the dilution miners keep putting forth? It's getting quite discouraging. Thoughts? Also, why was IREN down so much today? Yeah, I mean, we're seeing dilution. That's a fact, right? We're not going to get away from that. Yes, my numbers have come down a little bit from where they were. Originally, I was saying like Cleanspark could get to 70 plus, right? Right now, I'm saying maybe 60 to 70 because of the dilution that we've seen here. So that's just conservative estimates. I don't know exactly where it's going to end up at. We don't know where Bitcoin's going to end up either, whether it's 150,000, 120,000, or it could end up at 74,000 for the peak. But we're still factoring in that we might see another cycle that we've seen before where Bitcoin does start going up much higher. And even if you look at like the power law, the, what's the other one? Stock to flow ratio, all that stuff is pointing that Bitcoin should go up higher to like around 150,000, maybe more than that. So I'm still bullish on that. And the one way to kind of look at dilution is also how much are you getting hash rate growth for it. So if you're getting sizable hash rate growth, especially as you're going into bull run, I believe that is accretive. So that should help out. Right, but so yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Thoughts also on why IREN was down much today. Yeah, I'm not sure why that one was down so much. I mean, it was up nicely last week. I wonder if it's profit taking. I don't know. Okay. Hi, Seb. If I spend one more euro, my wife will kick me out of the house. I've been buying miners 3 days in a row. Okay. Yeah. Don't tell your wife. Okay. Kamala or Trump, which elected one will be better for BTC? Do you expect a dip as election day comes? We might get a dip. I don't know. But a dip is a dip, right? I'm not looking at the next 20 minutes. I'm looking at the next 12 months where things could possibly be at. That's what I'm really concerned. Day to day, I don't really care. If we get a dip, I want to buy. But as far as who's going to be better for Bitcoin, I think Trump would be better. Trump seems to be more pro, but Kamala is also switching her stance on that as well. So we'll see. But historically, like I said before, Bitcoin doesn't care who's in the White House. We've had Democrats with Republicans in the White House, and Bitcoin does its thing. And remember, we've had Biden here, which is a Democrat in the last 4 years. And his administration has been no friend of Bitcoin. And still, Bitcoin got to a new all-time high before the halving event. So you got big money in there now. I don't think it's going to matter. What do you think about the price action of IREN today? Is this an ATM? It could be, but usually they're looking to buy into strength, not into weakness. A lot of these guys actually are doing that. So let's take a look at IREN, see what IREN did today. Let me pull that out. I mean, it was down 6.7%. It wasn't down too bad, but it's still down. And it seems like it's going to be bouncing off of the 200 simple day moving average here, which is the green line here. Possibly. We've seen it bounce off of that before as well. So that might be our kind of line in the sand as far as how low it goes. But we'll see. We might dip below it a little bit here like we did back here and go back up. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it. We'll take a look at the institutions side of things for September, how those increase or decrease for the miners tomorrow. So maybe that might tell us a little bit more. Okay. Let's see. Seb, is it too late to start buying MicroStrategy? Should I wait for a pullback? I know you're not giving financial advice. Just want your thoughts. I would maybe wait for a pullback. MicroStrategy is a little bit overheated right now, I think. I could be wrong on this, but just the way I'm looking at it, it's down a little bit today. And take a look at the chart here. So it is way up here in the last, what is that, probably month or so. If we see where it's, well, I mean, even if we go back here, let's go back from here to up here. It's up 100% in the last 46 bars, so 65 trading days. Where has Bitcoin gone in that time frame? We can look at Bitcoin here as well in the last 65 days. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is probably, let me see, Bitcoin right there. We're back here roughly. Bitcoin, let's just start over here on that one. Let's see, Bitcoin is here, going back 65 trading days. Where does that put us at? 65 days is 64, 65 right here. Bitcoin would be up 7.8% roughly, right? Because we're going downwards. This would be the reverse, I think. But let's just start that over again here. So from that day, going over here, going up to here. Bitcoin's up 8%, right? So MicroStrategy has done basically like at 11x on top of what Bitcoin has done. That's just crazy to me. I think it's just a little overheated right now. So I would expect a little bit of pullback on that one. But that's just my 2 cents on that. Okay, back here. When does Bitfarms close Stronghold deal? It's supposed to, Ben said in the first quarter of 2025. So in a quarter, basically. Okay. LTD Law and Services says Core Scientific has been meeting and beating deadlines or meeting deadlines all year. Yes, they have. They've been doing really, really well. Okay. Mammoth says 2025 HPC and I will be huge. Maybe. Excuse me. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting to see if that happens. I'm still skeptical, as you guys may know, on HPC. I play with the miners. The biggest one that is out there is Core with CoreWeave deal. I haven't seen anything else sizable to that. Digital has a nice deal there as well. They have a potential with, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the company that they just signed up. It's like 1 or 2 million right now, but it could get to like 700 million. But everybody else is just, you got these little customers there right now. They're generating 1 million or something like that a month, which isn't bad, but it's nowhere near what Core is going to be generating with CoreWeave. Okay. What is the percent of Bitcoin you have compared to the miners? Thanks. As far as value-wise right now, it is more valuable. It's like, what is it at? 30. I would have to look at 35, 37%, something like that of my value in investing. Then you got the miners in there as well, which take up the other part of it. But it's the largest position right now. Okay. Dosta says, I don't know why people think the next U.S. president matters for BTC. Hello, this is Planet Earth. Yeah, that's the other thing that I've said before also, right? This, like I said before, Democrats, Republicans, whoever is in the White House doesn't really matter. Bitcoin does what it's going to do anyways. Okay, let's see. Hi, Seb. Was pretty impressed with BitDigital stats in your video yesterday. I'm trimming MicroStrategy to add Cleanspark IREN BitDigital. Okay, nice. Yeah. Yeah, BitDigital, uptime is great for them. My only concern with them is they're not really growing their hash rate going forward. They've kind of hushed on the 6 exahash growth this year to get to 6 exahash. And it seems like they're concentrating more on the HPC business side of things, which may be a good thing for them. But I just don't know if that's going to help them with reaping the rewards of Bitcoin going up in value, maybe, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Do you think the 4.4 billion the government is selling is going to cause downward pressure? Yeah, it's going to cause some downward pressure. Okay. There's no way BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, etc. have invested in this for Bitcoin to drop to top out. Yeah, I also have the same feeling, right? I think right now we're just in this continued accumulation phase, and once the big guys, the institutions, have enough bags, then they'll let it rip. But in the meantime, they just want to build up their bags. Will Bitfarms beat on earnings for Q3? They're expected to lose 9 cents per share. That, I don't know. I would have to run the numbers on it. You saw what they're supposed to generate. Now, as far as what they actually come in at, it should be pretty close to what my numbers are. But I don't know what this can be in per share amount. Plus, what type of share-based compensation they put in there. What else is going in there? Oh, gosh, I'm drawing a blank. It sucks getting old. Your memory goes. Compensation. What else is there? Depreciation, right? All those things that go into it. Okay. HD says, Kamala will switch her stance to whatever is pulling well or what audience she's talking to. Let's be honest. Well, Trump's the same way. Going back just a couple of years back, Trump was not in favor of Bitcoin at all, or when he was president last time. So they all do that. Don't be fooled by that either. Let's see. Seb, your thoughts on DMG, please. I have to take a look at them. I will take a look at them maybe this weekend and all the other small miners that I do cover. So I will get to them within the next week or two. Okay. When SBX does well, it seems BTC does not. And then if the market tops around 6K, quite soon now, BTC will follow down as well. How can we expect BTC to go up then you think? That I don't know. I mean, You might be right on that. I don't really follow SPX as far as what's going on there. There are other people that do follow like you. Yeah, I just don't know. I think sometimes it decouples from that possibly. No one seems to care about Bitcoin and miners. Only miners doing well are doing well for a reason that has nothing to do with Bitcoin mining. People are exiting the miners. So frustrating. Well, yeah, I mean, you see that happen throughout the terms, right? When Bitcoin's going down, miners are going down. Everybody's in panic mode selling, and they're like, oh, this is the worst. This is over, because they also bought in at a much higher price at that point, or some of them might have. But when things go really well, then everybody's like trying to get back into it. So it is one of those emotional things, and you have to kind of take psychology into this as well. That plays a role into it as well. Okay, Carol says, especially have to disagree regarding impact of upcoming election. This is the first presidential election in which crypto is a major issue. The S&P hit a new all-time high, and miners are down. Okay, we can agree to disagree, possibly. But if you look at it, I mean, there's also a lot more institutions this time around than we've had in the past. And even if you look at the prior presidential elections, typically Bitcoin goes up, right? So I don't think that makes anything. It's not, if Bitcoin was only like in the United States, it was bordered in there and you couldn't do anything else outside of the United States with Bitcoin, okay, then I would say, yeah, it might have an impact. But Bitcoin is a world, I don't even want to put this currency, not really currency, store of value, whatever you want to call it. It's not just on the United States. Let's see. So the bad report on IREN a few weeks ago back was a lie, you think. The short report that came out, there was some truth to it, but a lot of it was BS. The truth on it was that they said that the stock is way overvalued. I actually agree with them. So we've seen like the short reports that come out, they actually time it really, really well. Usually when the stock is like really overhyped and overvalued. We've seen that with Hut 8. We've seen that with, who else was there? Riot. We've seen it with IREN now. So, I mean, those guys have a track record of putting those things out when things are overvalued. Okay. If this cycle is the same, so should be peak happen somewhere in October 2025? Yeah, somewhere around that. That's kind of what we're thinking. The power law is saying that might happen like in March, where we might peak at 150,000. Who knows? We'll have to keep an eye on it. But that's just power law, right? It's give or take a little bit. Either way, it could be that way. But it could also be off by a couple months as well. I said, what is your miner allocation in your overall portfolio? I am heavily into Cleanspark. Cleanspark's my biggest bag right there. IREN is my second biggest one, followed by Bitfarms and then CORZ. I could possibly, let me see if I can pull that up really quick. Take a look. I don't look at it too often. I just put it in there. Let me see here. Where's it at? Oh, gosh. Why am I drawing blank? Oh, I know where I put it. Okay. Special investments. Take a look here. So right now, Bitcoin is 38% of my total value, total holdings, followed by Cleanspark's 24%. IREN is 14%, and Bitfarms is 13% of that. CORZ only 1.7%. I wish I would have bought more CORZ when it was actually low at the point where I got it. I bought CORZ at 625, 630, 680, and 645. Wish I would have been buying more at that point. But it is what it is. Can't always pick everything. Okay, come back here. Where's already there? Okay. LTD says money has to leave debt market and then the melt up begins. Forward guidance of more cuts will also allow us to have a weaker dollar soon. That is also a possibility there. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you positive about BTC rallying starting this October? On a 1 to 10, I would say a 9. Historically, that's kind of like the number of months that have been positive. So I'm like really, really positive that might happen. And here, take a look at this. So this is what I'm going by, right? The historical October numbers. And we've had a lot of green months here. Right, the only ones that we've really had that were in the red was 2018, which was a bear market. 2014 was also, I believe, a bear market at that point. We should have had one in 2022, but we didn't. We squeaked out a win here. We were up actually 5.56% on it, but we had a rough year also that whole time. So I would expect 2024 October to be really good for us, but we'll see. And if it isn't, then we might be in a different cycle altogether. If October is bad for us and November is bad for us, well, then, like I said, we might be in a different cycle. Back here. Okay. Hey, so what do you make of that common psychology expression of cutting your losers and letting your winners run based on experience last cycle and your exit strategy? There's some truth to that, I believe, but I didn't cut any losers, right? If I cut my losers back when I was buying in 2022, 2023, well, 23 was actually a pretty good year, but 2022, I would have never been in these guys here. I think you also have to have high conviction in these miners. You got to know exactly what you're getting into with these guys as well. And you got to track them because so much changes here just from, a couple months to a couple months, even month to month, things change dramatically with these guys. And then based on the experience last cycle and your exit strategy, yeah, I'm going to be taking profits this time around. I'm not going to be waiting for the hype of Bitcoin getting to 250,000. I'm going to be taking profits much earlier on. It will be smaller profits, like 5% of my portfolio being sold off at this point, at that point, so forth, so on. I just don't know where the top's going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere around 180,000, but we'll see. But I'm taking profits this time. I'm not holding all the way back through. More Tim 27 says we have election FUD, IREN Israel FUD, rising bond yields. Yeah, I saw that today also. And rising DXY and hurricanes. When we settle down, I think BTC does better. The election will settle a lot of uncertainty. Yeah. Mark says also, I don't think elections will have a negative impact, but I think that Trump getting elected has a potential for a massive positive impact if we do strategic holdings moon. Yeah. There's always a benefit to possibly if Trump gets in. Maybe a little bit more upside is what I'm trying to say. But as far as if the other candidate gets in, Bitcoin's still going to go up, maybe not go up as much. But then even then, if you have, see, that's the hard part. We'll have to see what the Senate and Congress is like. Does he have the votes there to then change the laws around it to also do, strategic reserves and holding Bitcoin? So that's also important. Okay. What timeframes do you use when doing your technicals? As far as technicals, I don't really do technicals. I just kind of look at historical data on the Bitcoin itself. And then I just look at the data that I have on the miners. But technicals, I'll look at like the RSI, where that's at, the 50-day moving average, 100-day moving average, 200-day, looking at those as well, and that's basically it. Okay. Chris is here. Hi, Chris. Let's see here. Chris is saying peak for the miners is going to be May 2025. So we got some varying opinions here. What is this? That's technical flow. The power law is saying around March. You're saying around May. I'm saying maybe around September, October. Who knows? I mean, as long as we get a peak, I'm going to be happy with it. Which countries are currently holding the most BTC? I think it's United States. Who else is there? Bhutan was also like number 4. Then there was another one. I'm drawing the blank on the other. There was like 2 or 3. I think Bhutan was number 4. I think US was number 1. Who else was in number 2, number 3 spots? I just saw that a couple days ago. Let's see. Andre says, guys and gals, don't forget to press the like button. Appreciate it. Thank you, Andre. Let's see. By the way, tell your father congratulations on the massive gains in CORZ, best buy I've ever made, 358 average. Yeah, he's really happy about that. We were talking about it yesterday, actually. Where do we think it could go, and should he hold until then? Should he start selling? I'm like, Dad, you got to start selling a little bit once it gets to like probably Bitcoin gets to 100,000 or something like that. Don't get stuck holding the bag. Okay. That's here. Seb, I like your strategy of DCing out during the bull run. So as a first-time investor here, I'm going to do the same here. This is going to be my first cycle, so your info means a lot for us new retailers. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah. Right. I'm not going to be able to pick the top. I know that for a fact. And the big thing is for us to get to like 100,000 and start selling at that point, because I think it's going to go up higher, but we just never know. Last cycle I was thinking the same thing. It's going to get to 100,000. It never did. Got to 69,000 and kept falling down afterwards. So you got to take profits. If we see things changing drastically, you got to take profits. Let's see. Bitfarms is at $1.80 after the year they had. So this a hold still? A hold, yeah. I think going forward, Bitcoin's right. The belief is Bitcoin's going to go up. There's no certainty in it, but that's a belief based on previous cycles. I would hold. Yeah, I still hold. I bought more Monday, Tuesday, and I'm going to be probably buying some more tomorrow. Is Bitfarms cheap right now? It's $1.78. Yes, I think it is. I keep saying I think it should be at least 2x from where it is right now. Okay. Mark says El Salvador also. Yes, El Salvador is also on there. Okay. JR says, did you see Delio's recent comments regarding worries of 5 mega trends happening right now and that the era of cheap money is gone and to expect sustained high interest rates inflation for longer? I don't know. I mean, we're seeing kind of the opposite right now happening with the Fed lowering rates. We're going to possibly lower rates again 2 more times this year, then another 50 basis points. So, I mean, interest rates are going to be coming down. Interest rates are still relatively low compared to where they were back in like the 90s. I remember my dad, when he bought his first house, he had interest rate of like 11 or 13% on the house. It was crazy, right? And people had higher interest rates on other things. So I think interest rates are still relatively low compared to where they have been. And they're not that, they're high, but they're not massively high right now. And I think they're going to be coming down, actually. Okay, let's see. Okay, by the way, did you watch the Netflix documentary Thoughts? You mean the HBO net? I thought it was interesting. I mean, who knows, right? Was it Peter Todd, I think, is the guy's name, that they're saying is possibly Satoshi. They make a compelling argument for it, but I just don't know. When will the dip stop dipping, Seb? A lot of dry powder. I'm with you. I'm scrounging up cash as it is to possibly buy tomorrow. I don't know. You know, I'm hoping it's going to be within the next week or so, but time will tell on that one. Okay. They said, what price does Bitcoin have to be for the miners to break even when it comes to energy cost? Some of the miners have it at pretty low cost. Some of them have it like around 25, 27,000 Bitcoin price for that, for electricity costs. Some are a little bit higher in the 30s, 40s. So I think they should be okay there. Some are in the 50s also. So it just depends on their electrical cost. Okay. Will any country like El Salvador change their currency to Bitcoin? Who's the one that visited El Salvador here recently? There's another country nearby them. Gosh, who was it? I'm drawing back, but there's another one. I think there's going to happen over time. I just don't know exactly when, but that's part of the adoption, right? Every year, every month, something happens where we have more and more adoption. We never had the ETFs. We got those. And things are just progressing in the upward direction, I think, with Bitcoin. And we're seeing that. Prices still, I mean, who would have thought Bitcoin's going to be at, these prices, just maybe 5-6 years ago, when it was around $3,000 and $1,000. So it is outperforming all of our expectations, I think. Okay, why this drop in miners price today? Bitcoin was down today, so that put them down, and that's basically why. We might be seeing maybe some shenanigans happening in the market as well with the miners, some manipulation there, trying to get people out of them so they can buy them at lower prices. There's a lot of things that could be going on there. Sebastian, do you know if you trade out of an IRA, you can now buy, sell, and rebuy, and it all settles the next day instead of 3 or so? If you can read a chart, like it's like free money to pick up a spot any day. Let's see, out of an IRA. That I didn't know. So I don't have an IRA. I have a 401k. And in that one, I can't even trade stocks. I can only get ETFs or like the mutual funds and things like that. Is US selling all its Bitcoin? Possibly. Maybe. We'll see. Let's see. Send to see Bitfarms at BTC 60K equals $9.2021 versus BTC. Yeah, but that's based on dilution, and then I'm having also ride on their coattails a little bit as well. So that's a result of that. All right. I think we're all caught up here with the questions and everything else. So I think we're going to call it a day here. I see something else popping in here. What does ATM stand for in the stock market? Sorry if I'm not good with stock market lingo. No, that's okay. At the market offering. So that's what it stands for. And basically what that means is the ATM at that point, well, it's basically like an ATM. You have shares, you give the shares to a third party, the third party sells them on your behalf. And they get a portion of that as well. Okay. Let's see. Satoshi wanted to be anonymous, so people should leave it like that. That would be at least the minimum what we can do for him or her. We don't know. Respect his decision or her decision. He made more than enough for people. Yeah, I agree. That's why I really don't care who Satoshi is. I mean, Satoshi gave us a gift. We should leave it at that. Okay, let's see. You can put $7,500 in an IRA and you pay no taxes on trades, but when you take that out, right, you have to be a certain age without paying a penalty. If I'm not mistaken on that one, I could be wrong on it though, but I know there's something like that, I think. Okay. Do you think a lower than expected CPI tomorrow will be positive for the miners, BTC and miners? Yeah, I think so. That would be good, I think. Par says the PAMP is coming. Let's see. Hey, launch services. I'm in CORZ. Wow, that's a good for my first 40. Wow, that's really good. Then added 18,000 CORZ shares at 740 and added another CORZ at 7 the other day. Wow, that's really good. Congrats to you. Okay. Yeah, 59.5. Okay, yeah, so you can take it out at 59.5. Yeah. That wouldn't be too bad. So it's kind of like my 401k plan. It's the same thing. I have to wait until I'm 59.5 and it's tax-free right now. Anything that I do in there is not taxed until I actually start taking it out. And that's when I start paying taxes on it. Okay. All right. That is it, you guys. We'll call it a day. So tomorrow, like I've said before earlier on, we will go over the miners and institutions as far as have institutions been buying into them or not over the last month. It's kind of surprising the numbers I saw. And so we'll take a look at that tomorrow. We'll see whatever else happens. We'll look at maybe the CPI data, if that was good or bad. And yeah, I think that should be it. So thank you so much for coming in. Love you all. Have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow.